was just following.
Yeah, but let me see.
This one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
Let's say live. That's weird because.
Yep, there we go.
Okay, now this is what I need to see. I need to see.
It's frozen though. No, not you. Just mine.
Oh, this one person is probably. Why is this popping?
Hey to the one follower.
That's you.
Oh,
That's you, fool.
oh.
Just testing something out.
I ain't got no haircut. I ain't dressed. Don't say nothing to me. It's slow, D.
No, I know it's this software. It encodes everything and then it goes there.
Oh,
Yeah, that one follower is you.
I want to make sure you ain't doing nothing crazy.
Probably so.
That's how YouTube is. Just in case they gotta cut you off. It's slow, D. Oh, there I
No,
go.
I know it's this software. It encodes everything and then it goes there.
Oh,
Yeah, that one follower is you.
I want to make sure you ain't doing nothing crazy.
Probably so.
That's how YouTube is. Just in case they gotta cut you off. All right, we ain't gotta reschedule. D, for sure. Oh, there I go.
No, I know it's. Oh, now it's two people on there. Somebody else is on there. So let me testing this out. We'll get started in a second. I'm curious to know who on there. Who is you waving to?
Whoever the one person is that's on there.
It's probably Shannon.
Now what if it ain't Shannon?
If it's not there, God bless.
Say hi. Thanks for following. Something. You cut it off? Oh, you just wrong.
I didn't cut it off. It's a chat.
Oh, you trying to see who in there? Could they hear us?
Yeah.
Well, we was just doing all that talking.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm in my work uniform. Yes, I was at work before I got here.
All right. DeAndre Thomas, and I'm here today with my friend Keith Williams. Now I have him on this podcast today because he brings a vast majority of experience when it comes to churches. And man, he's been an armor bearer
For sure.
for quite a few pastors. He's been a member of quite a few churches. Unlike myself, I have kind of been at. Well, I'm not even trying to be funny.
No, but I mean, why you gotta say it like that?
No, I
Quite
promise
a
you, I'm
few
not even trying to
churches.
be funny.
I work for multiple churches. I have one church home.
Okay, give us your history, bro.
I mean, I work for multiple churches for sure.
Okay.
As an armor bearer or an adjutant, some people have.
What is an adjutant?
Some people have different terms because when you go into the when you get technical with people, they want to say, well, what is an armor bearer? An armor bearer is somebody that carries, in one sense, a gun, and then in another sense, someone that carries the Bible.
Armor bearers out here, they strapped.
For sure.
They strapped for the Lord.
Absolutely.
They strapped for the Lord.
So don't be just running up to people you don't know.
I'm not gonna do that.
You're not gonna do what?
I'm not gonna run up to nobody.
Oh no, not you. I'm just saying.
Especially not during the pandemic.
Yeah, no run to nobody, for sure.
No, but in all honesty, though, I brought Keith on today because I felt like he could bring something today during this topic to the church and the pandemic. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight is the church and the pandemic. Where can I start? First, let's start about before the pandemic.
All right, let's go.
Man, I really believe that even before the pandemic, a lot of churches weren't functioning in their full potential, even before the pandemic.
Absolutely.
And when I
We've
say
had
that,
multiple conversations
right,
about this.
definitely. And when I say that, I'm saying just far as like operation, just the Sunday to Sunday basis, like just the things that they do on a Sunday to Sunday basis. I felt like for many of churches, a lot of things that they did, it kind of hindered them more than helped them.
True. Absolutely.
So not even going into the pandemic, if you talk about before the pandemic, a lot of churches kind of struggled before the pandemic. So to bring in the pandemic to, play to even think about not going to church on a Sunday basis. Like I talk to people right now that are struggling with a lot of things, and a lot of people felt like even before the pandemic, a lot of churches didn't kind of meet a lot of the needs of a lot of people. And I'm not talking about
any particular church.
Correct. Church. I'm just saying in general, because I know of many churches. I go to a church faithfully every Sunday, and I fellowship with different churches. I'm friends with quite a few pastors. I have a good friend of mine who's a young pastor, and he's doing really well. But I watch what he brings to his ministry.
Correct.
What he brings to his ministry is a lot of forward thinking. He has to essentially be something different than what the church is used to seeing.
Correct. That's what this time is actually about.
Definitely.
For sure.
Definitely. So when you talk about pre-pandemic, we talk about a lot of churches that struggled financially, spiritually,
yes,
and physically.
Yes.
All three aspects.
Yes.
Nobody was coming. Nobody was giving tithes or offering, and no one's spiritual journey. And let me correct myself. Not no one, but the majority of the individuals that were going to church did not have a successful prayer life. They didn't know how to pray fully.
Correct.
There was just a lot of things that were not happening that could have happened to set the church up for success during the pandemic.
Correct. And we're not here to bash the church. So
no. Nobody's bashing the church. We're just having an open conversation about the church and the pandemic. Now that we are somewhat out of the woods, now we're still going through a pandemic. Don't get me wrong. The pandemic is very much here. We're still going through it, but we can see essentially the light at the end of the dark tunnel. It's not as bad as it was.
Maybe.
Why do you say maybe?
Hi guys. So not only do I work for the church, but I now work for a company that manages crisis. The pandemic is considered a crisis.
Okay.
There's a lot of things that they're not going to present on the news, and there's also a lot of things that you probably won't see, or that I get back to the office and I know different things. So
okay.
This is no longer.
Oh, you official.
So this is. So this is no longer going to be.
Hey man, look, check this out. If you got information, you better share it with the people.
I'm trying. I'm sharing.
Don't be sitting here holding back information and stuff.
For sure.
Share it with the people.
For sure. I'm gonna share what I can that I've gotten permission to share.
Excuse me, top notch.
All right. So
clearance.
This is no longer. Probably a lot of people already know this. It's not going to be a pandemic. It's now going to be an endemic. which means that
It's gonna be like the influenza.
it's gonna
It's gonna be something. Or the flu. That's what
Or
the.
the flu.
Don't say that again. The influenza
I know
But-
but most people don't know. They not about to
Yeah.
be on here and be like, oh, he said that. Like they not gonna go look.
no,
it up.
it's gonna be like the flu. It's gonna be
Yes.
something that's gonna come and go, and there's gonna be a vaccine for it. Like how there's a flu vaccine
Yes,
that people take every year during flu season, quote unquote.
yes.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
But there's so much more to this
Okay.
because it's new and no one knows what it is. That we might be back at phase 1 in a couple of months when they thinking we're gonna be at phase 10. I can just say that. Why?
Now, okay, what is phase 1? Explain.
Phase 1 is back basically in the drawing board, trying to figure out, okay, this will work, this won't work, this should work, this don't work. The reason why I say that. So if you right now, what's going on is, if you're in the age group over 65,
Okay.
probably about 98% of the people in the age group over 65, the medicine isn't going to work on.
Okay.
So they've gotten a shot, right? They think
Right.
that they good. So after you get the shot, both shots, whatever you get, then they tell you, well, come back in 14 days to get an antibody test,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, it's so new, but most people over the age of 65, when they have come back to get antibody tests, what happens? They don't have no antibodies in their system.
Okay.
What does that mean? You got to start the process over.
So they're gonna have to get vaccinated
They
again.
got to get vaccinated again.
That doesn't make sense.
It's new. No one has lived through a pandemic before.
That's not true.
Tell me somebody that lived through
The
a pandemic.
Spanish flu.
That's a lie.
That was 100 years ago.
That's alive. That's in charge
No,
today.
There was a I want to say there was a lady of Hispanic culture, Hispanic lady, that actually lived. She was over 100 years old. That lived during the Spanish flu.
And she's alive today.
She's alive today.
But-
Because people were
but
saying,
is
how
she in
can she go
charge?
through that and this?
But is she in charge? Is she in the rooms telling them what to do or how to
There's
do it?
probably a few people that actually went through it. That's still there. That's still living. You know,
Yeah, but I'm saying they're not in charge. They're not the ones making the decisions. That's what I mean by
a
it.
lady over 100 years old. You really think she's going to be making decisions?
Of course not. So you get my point? Y'all get my point? Y'all get my point. They know what
don't.
I'm trying to say.
They don't get your point.
So the people over 65, they got to. So if you got the Pfizer, right? Let's say you got the Pfizer.
Okay.
So the suggestion is you go and get the opposite.
The
Because-
Moderna.
The Moderna. Because they don't know if you get the other one, that your body will pick up the antibodies,
Okay.
right? So let's say you do got antibodies in your system, right? What they ain't telling y'all, or what they ain't saying,
What did you say?
in 3 months,
Okay.
you got to get tested for antibodies again. Hopefully they still high. So then 3 months after that, 6 months, you get tested again. If you high in antibodies, then you got to get a booster shot.
See, this is too much.
So if when you get the booster shot,
Mhm.
how long does the booster shot last?
I don't know.
About,
You work for a.
about another 3 months.
Okay.
So let's clear the air. The shots are not to keep you from getting COVID.
Now, this is the thing. I'm glad you actually mentioned that, because that's my reservation on actually taking it.
Now let me be clear though too. I'm not telling y'all hello. I'm not telling y'all to not go get the vaccine. What I'm saying is consult with your doctors. If you got a doctor, talk to your doctor.
Okay.
Some doctors say hey, yeah, get it. Some doctors say, wait. Some doctors say, well, if some of y'all, because some of y'all have had COVID, if you had COVID, it can't hurt you. Let's see what happens.
But see, that's what I'm saying though. That's my reservation on taking the vaccine.
Well, when have you ever took a flu vaccine?
Nope.
So there you go.
And see, that's my thing. It's like if I've never taken the flu vaccine, and I'm not saying I'm immune. That's not what I'm saying, because I get sick just like everybody else.
Correct.
But I feel like if God Himself, the Spirit, the Spirit of God tells me and gives me the peace to take it, then I will.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, in my spirit
not
is
ready
not
yet.
It's not ready.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that the vaccine is not good.
Okay.
Because it could be.
Correct.
Could be the best vaccine they've ever created in the history of vaccines. But
Okay.
I'm saying, for me, I'm not that comfortable yet.
Okay.
And people, I've talked about this with colleagues of mine, and they asked me, well, we kind of converse and talk to each other about this. Most of us aren't willing to take it.
Okay.
Most of us are of minority complexion.
Okay.
We are black, brown, Hispanics, African Americans.
Right.
Most of us won't take it, and that's what they're saying. Even in the news.
I know some. I don't want to say. I know some clear people.
Caucasian. That's what they are.
I know some Caucasian people that won't take it either.
Yeah, no, I believe it. But what I'm saying is, when we talk about this, the reason why we feel for us, we're not in a rush to take it, is because look at the history between minorities and vaccines in the country.
Correct.
But I'm not trying to discredit anyone. I'm just saying that's where my reservation is.
Okay.
And like I said, it could be the best vaccine they've ever created in the history of vaccines.
Right.
I just want to see enough people, and there are people that says, well, there's what do you call it? There's tests. There's people that even before the vaccine gets put out there, there's tests. The vaccine is tested on people.
Test vaccines.
They test vaccines on individuals.
Well, they
groups of people, and I can't think of exactly what it's called at the moment.
Most of these tests, though.
I believe that because you don't have enough time to, give it the
proper
time. So you're going through a pandemic. People are dying by the hundreds of thousands now, and you want to get something out there so people will stop dying at a vast rate.
Correct.
But
so if you look at the news, because the news is not putting it, only some stations are.
Okay.
But if you kind of read the news and you look online and you actually do your research, you will see that in New York the numbers are going back up.
Okay.
Because of what I've just said, the age group between 65 and higher.
So you think it's going up because people don't want to take it?
No, it's going up because, well, one, yes, because people don't want to take it, but also because the people that have been vaccinated, it's not working properly on them.
But see, that's my thing. Because it's not working properly, why was there a rush to put something out there? And it's like we said a minute ago. There was a group of people, a case study, that was done on individuals.
Correct.
Let's take the Moderna vaccine and the Pfizer. They have to do that.
Correct.
You have to go through
a certain process. Correct.
Process.
But you can also rush that process.
Of course.
Yes.
But my thing is this. There was a process that was done.
Correct.
Where are all the people that went through the process?
That's a good question.
No, I'm saying, like, everyone gets on the news and say, well, let's take the COVID vaccine, and, we have a president now that I feel like is for the people, but he may have his own hidden agenda. I don't know. I'm not trying to be. I'm being for real, bro. Like, people, we say and we think people are for us, and people have hidden agendas.
Correct.
But what I'm telling you is this:
do you think that
where are all the people?
Because to get y'all to take the vaccine?
Not necessarily.
Okay. I'm just asking.
Let me tell you something, man. People are so, how can I put it? So, for the lack of terminology, out of focus with life itself, to where you can put something on TV and people will believe it, and they'll
Correct.
go run and take the vaccine.
For sure.
So you don't need a president to stand up and do a state of emergency announcement, and we need to take this. People,
Well, if you have the opposite before, then you do need someone to tell you, hey,
now,
you do this.
But think about this. Now let a celebrity. It's sad, but that's just where our generation is. Let a celebrity get out there and say, "Oh, take the vaccine, y'all. I took it," or they get shot. You got so many people that follow these individuals
that they're gonna go and try to get the shot.
They're gonna go and try to get the shot because I seen Beyonce do it, and I don't know if any of these people do. I'm just speaking hypothetically. Beyonce did it, Jay-Z did it, P. Diddy, or some gospel. Kurt Franklin did it, but my thing is we have to pray and ask God and have discernment over our own lives and our own, health and well-being.
Correct.
Because, like, for me, there's people that probably feel like, oh, well, why do you think like this? And you're a husband now, and you have a wife and a child. But we also take steps to not get COVID.
As you should.
You know what I mean?
As everyone else
like
should.
Anybody, like for anybody that has come within my circle, like for instance, like even us right now.
Right. We just talked about
the test though that we just had that was negative within the last 24 hours. That's what I'm so
Absolutely.
I don't have to worry about that.
So go get tested.
Go get tested. Now you have to get tested
to know what's going on.
To know what's going on.
Absolutely.
But see,
just like y'all go out there and get tested.
Yeah, but see, like for instance, like me, if I went to somebody comment, if I went to,
that's your wife watching. Say hi.
Oh, hey Shannon, she didn't want to be on. I said it like that because you didn't want to be on this episode tonight. But anyways,
she don't want to talk about the church.
She don't want to talk about the church.
She over it.
But anyways, there are. She threw me off in there. But anyways, I just feel like when it comes to this, we have to be careful.
Correct.
On what we do.
Correct.
I pray all the time and ask God to give me this. If it's my time to take it, it's my time to take it. And I'm gonna tell you something. My grandfather, he actually said something which is very true the other day at church. He said, when it's your time to go,
ain't nothing gonna stop you from going.
Ain't nothing gonna stop you from going. Now, he's absolutely correct.
Correct. But you can go before your time if you are not doing.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's casualties and things that happen all the time that take us up out of here, but whether you take the vaccine and pass from it or not, when it's your time to go, it's going to be your time to go.
For sure.
But to alleviate and not cause stress on the body, we still should, like, for instance, there was a video the other day. I don't know if you've seen it. There was a video the other day, and I wish I had it to play it for you all. There was a pastor that was going off. He was ranting about, now they're saying, let's wear these type of masks. He was mad at the government because he was saying, now they're saying these masks aren't working. Let's wear these masks.
Correct. Let's wear. You should wear 2 masks.
2 masks.
Correct.
And he was going off, and he ended up saying derogatory word, and I was like, he can't be serious.
Dead serious.
He was serious as a heart attack.
For sure.
But I felt so bad for him because that man is going through something. He's so deluged, like ain't no telling what he going through at home. He probably tired of the pandemic, and he done came out there on a rant. He just tired. He fed up. But
I know.
I'm pretty sure
people that they are at this point. It's like, okay, this got to be over. I'm ready to move back to. I'm ready to get back to life.
But see, this is the thing. We can't lose hope.
No, you can't. You should.
We cannot lose hope, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I'd rather wait to see someone. I'd rather not go around individuals because of the whole pandemic and be able to see them later.
Correct. And then
to want to see them now and only see them for a little while because we have been, immature about how we're handling the pandemic.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
So with that being said, how do you feel about churches opening back up?
You want my honest opinion?
Honest, yeah.
Honest opinion, I don't feel like we should do it right now.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you
Elaborate.
why. We are not where we need to be in people's level of comfortability for indoor worship.
Okay.
Now, let me say this. I feel that if churches took better safety precautions,
Such as.
that making sure people social distance when they come inside the church,
Okay.
make sure everyone keeps on their masks,
Okay.
make sure we checking temperatures before we get to before people get
Why we
inside.
checking temperatures?
Huh?
Why we checking temperatures?
Well, the temperature checks is for if they say if you have COVID, most people will run a fever.
Well, if I go to work, so I go to work early in the morning,
Okay.
right? So I'm blasting the heater. If anybody know me, you know that I'm always cold.
Okay.
I love the heater. I love coats.
Okay.
So if I go into work and my temperature is higher than what it's supposed to be because I was just inside the car with the heat on, that could be wrong. You know that, right?
But I'm gonna tell you where you're wrong on that. Hold on, I'm gonna tell you why. Now your temperature will be elevated.
Correct.
But will your temperature be at 103?
It'll be but maybe like at 100. It
Nah.
happened before. No.
Nah.
Honest.
If you're in your car
Correct.
riding to work,
Correct.
and you have the
heat
heater
blasting.
the heat blasting,
Yes.
there's no way you're gonna get out the car and by the time you get to the front door, your temperature is gonna be at 100 degrees.
Depends on where the front door is and where your car.
It could be 15 feet. Your temperature is not gonna stay at 100 degrees.
I mean, but
because you got to think
your
the heat
temperature is supposed to be at where's
I think it was like between 97 to 98 point something, right? That's the normal temperature.
97. Yes.
Yeah,
So,
so
if it's anything above that's considered to be
anything over 100 is considered a risk.
Oh, went off. Not on your thing, on my thing.
Oh, I was confused.
Anything over 100 is higher, right? Well, I just know that. Okay, you're gonna check people's temperatures. That doesn't necessarily mean that they have the COVID.
Very much so.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna tell you why you're absolutely correct. I'm gonna tell you why you're correct. Because my job, we have hundreds of employees at one facility.
Mm-hmm.
I work for one of the biggest law enforcement agencies in Los Angeles.
Right.
And we have thousands of employees on the roster. Now, all of the actual temperature checks and everything that they've done, multiple times I have come in contact with someone that has had COVID. Now, how is it
that you didn't get COVID, but they
No, it's not even that how it's not even about me not getting COVID. How did they get past the front with COVID? That's what I'm saying. Because thank God,
because the temperature,
I never caught it.
Because the temperature, knock on wood.
That's what I'm saying. Thank God, right? I did already.
The temperature check don't necessarily mean that it's working.
It don't, because you can be asymptomatic.
Correct.
There was quite a few people that they found out was asymptomatic. There were individuals that, different various reasons why they caught it.
Oh, and before we move forward, and if you only got one shot, you still can catch COVID.
Well, you still can get it if you get the second shot.
Right, but you have more. You're more immune to it.
But see, that's my question, and I've asked the healthcare, professionals.
Okay.
They
don't want to scare you, so they ain't telling.
No, I know they're not gonna tell you the full. But my thing is, why should I get the vaccine if I still can die from it? I still can catch it. I still can die from it.
Well, you can catch it. You're not necessarily the purpose of getting the shot, from which is explained to us when we are in these meetings, is so you won't be hospitalized and you won't die. That's the purpose of you getting the shot.
Okay.
That's basically what they should tell you.
But see, that's not what they're telling people.
You can still catch COVID if you get the shots. God bless you.
Thank you. Okay, so being that this episode tonight is talking about the church and the pandemic. Now, we've already established that even before the pandemic, churches weren't fully operating in their full potential.
Correct.
Now, how do you feel the churches have, kind of structured themselves during the pandemic? Do you feel like it has been of their benefit, or you feel like a lot of churches didn't really take, full advantage of the pandemic like they should have? When I say advantage, this is what I mean. so many churches, you know, I'm gonna say it, did not and still aren't
Correct.
fully investing into their broadcast
Correct.
like they should.
Correct. I agree. I agree
See,
with that 100%.
if your indoor house of worship is not fully operating, only thing you can provide to people is you can give them the word of God. Same word of God you preaching through the lens is the same thing they're gonna get inside the house.
Correct.
Now I tell people it is not the same. If you looking for that complete experience like you will inside the church,
Correct.
you're not gonna get it.
No.
Because for one is you're worshiping with people that you live with.
Correct.
A lot of times people go through a lot of things with people, and it's hard to kind of get into a Zen kind of mode
because we're all
with
we're
individuals.
all
Well,
on
you came
different
out while
levels.
we were talking.
We're all on different levels.
We're all on different levels.
Correct.
So in my house, I may be the one that is constantly spending time with God, and you can walk through. You don't have to walk on eggshells. But
She don't want people to know she ain't here.
they already hear you now.
Hi,
But
Shannon.
Right. But anyways, there
Come on.
you owe us now. You came out being, but there are I may be the only one in my house that is constantly spending time with God, and my level of anointing is increasing. But that may not be the same story for everyone in my house. Now, with that being said, I'm not saying that everyone inside the church
It's the same. It's doing that.
is doing that.
Correct.
But I will say this. The experience that I have felt being around like-minded individuals coming into the house of God with the same unified mindset
Correct.
is a complete difference
Correct.
than just being at home sitting on my couch watching it.
I agree.
Now, what I will say is this, though. I have watched many a different churches live stream right now during the pandemic.
So
And I can see
the difference.
the difference.
Absolutely. So my take. There are some churches that have went from 0 to 100 in the pandemic. Their
In what terms are you speaking of?
their membership have grown
Okay.
online and in person.
Okay.
Well, I would say in their city, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't have a lot of people don't have in person yet. But I do know some churches that if you RSVP
Okay.
a week before, then you can get in the week you RSVP for, and it'll be social distancing,
Okay.
right? But I know some churches that have grown,
They have excelled. But you know why, though?
because they have invested not only in their people that they knew was capable of
Mm-hmm.
handling, because this is a ministry,
Okay.
handling
See,
this ministry.
that part right there that you just said. A lot of churches aren't there yet.
No, absolutely not.
A lot of churches
It's not a
don't really
ministry to them.
fully
They're not-
believe
no,
that
this is a
a
ministry.
broadcast
Is a ministry.
is a completely separate ministry
Correct.
than inside the church.
Correct.
And I'm gonna be the first one to say that you have to treat that as the same church, different campus.
Correct.
You have to treat people online as if they are
Because they want to experience.
they want to experience. And I'm gonna
For
tell you
sure.
something. That's why there's three churches that I have watched like during the week that I love watching their ministries.
Okay.
I feel like what they bring, they teaching the word.
Okay.
They're not doing a whole lot of extra stuff.
Okay.
They teaching the word.
Okay.
They having a full praise and worship set, getting your heart prepared
For
for the word of God, for the message.
Okay.
And they're bringing a different online experience than what they're doing inside the house.
Okay.
You have to treat it as such.
You do.
Those three are Transformation Church.
Okay.
Pastor Michael Todd.
You naming. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Transformation Church, Pastor Michael Todd.
Okay.
Amazing, man. Him and his wife, they're pastoring the church.
Okay.
They're the leaders of that house. They are doing an amazing job.
Okay.
T.D. Jakes, the Potter's House.
I was just looking at something with just
But see, the Potter's House. See, this is one
they
thing I like
they
about.
definitely prepared though. So
But see, they was even excelling even before the pandemic.
for sure,
See, but when you look at that
because
ministry,
he's not focused on
no. Well, see, when you look at T.D. Jakes, he is a very, how can I put it? He's a very
open-minded.
open-minded.
I'm going to.
He is definitely.
It's not about me. This is not my show.
He's not trying to catch up during the curve.
No.
He's like on the other side of the curve, trying to bring other pastors ahead, saying, "Look, you don't have to be still out there in the dark. It's okay."
As I remember in the past, before the pandemic hit, I remember you saying something to this nature of God is about to do something, and these churches are not prepared for what God is about to do.
Well, probably so. God speak to me a whole lot of times, and I be seriously.
He deep, y'all.
I be
He deep.
Come on. I be
saying.
saying a lot of things, and it be coming. I be like, hold on, wait a minute.
Wait, Lord, hold on. What you mean? Yeah.
But in all honesty, that was two. Let me get to my third church first.
Okay.
Elevation Church.
Okay.
Stephen Furtick.
Okay.
When I tell you, now there are some, and I don't want people to say, well, you've just named three
big churches
okay. that have
I got some churches too
that have been
big.
They not really been big. A lot of, and let me tell you what's so crazy is when you look at those three ministries that I just named, all three of those churches have not been in existence longer than 25, 27-ish years. That's no time.
Correct.
So you have to ask yourself, and let's just hypothetically say, okay, 30 years. Again, these ministries have been around for 30 years.
We are not bashing the church.
No, that's fine.
I just want to put that out there for y'all go and be.
No. We're speaking about the church and the pandemic.
Correct.
And the effects of it, and what we have experienced, what we have seen pre-pandemic, during the pandemic, and we're getting ready to talk about post-pandemic.
Okay.
Now, talking about during the pandemic right now, the three churches like that I've seen that have excelled: Transformation Church,
okay,
the Potter's House,
okay,
Elevation Church.
Okay.
Now, you may say, well, those are all kind of progressive churches. They're very contemporary. What about traditional churches? Churches that they have a little bit of contemporary in there, but most of it is traditional.
Okay.
I'm going to give you one. Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church.
Okay.
Now, when I tell you,
name dropping,
Dr. Marcus Cosby.
Okay.
The brother be preaching. He be preaching, and he preaches. One thing I love about his, because I'll watch him like on a Tuesday or a Thursday night or something like this, if I'm not doing something
I've been in the
church I
belong
belong
to.
to.
Cosby, so
he's a really good teacher.
Yes.
Now, when he gets up there, he teaching the word. He not doing nothing else. He gonna teach the word.
Correct.
Now, when I look at just how much even their ministry catapulted
because of
during the pandemic.
Correct.
Now, they were already growing pre-pandemic.
Okay.
But when the pandemic hit, I watched them every week. How every week it seems like they were bringing something different to the people.
Okay. So before we move forward, though, let's give them a little bit to chew on. Why do you think that these churches have not excelled in the pandemic? What do you think some of the reasons are that they have not excelled in the pandemic? And do you think that they could catch up to where some churches are so that they could be where they need to be when the pandemic becomes an endemic?
Well, I've been saying this and my colleagues will probably contest to this, I've been saying this from forever. The coronavirus ain't going nowhere. I know people don't want to hear that, but it's not going nowhere.
It's here. We have to learn to live with it.
We have to learn how to live with it.
Now,
I do feel like we will get to a place of normalcy again, to where we won't be wearing the mask and doing all that. It's going to be like the flu.
Correct.
You're just going to govern yourself accordingly.
Correct. Or, people going to start calling it the Rona. Well, they already call it the Rona.
The Rona.
They got the Rona.
They got, right.
Yeah.
I heard somebody say Cora. But in all honesty, during the pandemic, I feel like this was a prime time. It was a key season for a lot of churches to utilize the pandemic to catapult their ministries forward.
Correct.
Because you had nothing but people sitting at home on their phones, on their TV, on their computers. So when people say, "Oh, I can't go on a live stream," that's not true.
Because you got multiple, that's free.
You have multiple devices in your home. Would name me somebody you know right now off the top of your head that don't have internet at their home? Now that's impossible. It's impossible to have. Most networks now are moving out of the the satellite and direct cable lines. They're moving to streaming services.
Correct.
So probably, I'm gonna hypothetically say 70+% of the world has internet access at their home.
I'll give you that.
So why is it that when we look at certain ministries, the numbers are down? Oh, it's okay. It's still going on. The numbers are down. Engagement is not there. Why do you feel like in the pandemic?
I asked you this question. Why you gonna throw it at me?
I already answered. I told you. I felt like they didn't take full advantage to catapult their ministries forward.
Okay. But you have to elaborate. You can't just say.
Okay, so let me elaborate. When I say that,
you know, go more in detail.
I'm going to go more in detail. When I say that, they did not. For one, they didn't properly. When the pandemic first hit, they didn't prepare their members.
Correct, because they didn't believe that.
They didn't believe, it was going to be longer than a year had a lot. We gonna be going through this for 2 or 3 months, and a lot of people would never thought they would see the day that the physical doors of the church you couldn't come into.
You hit a point, but you don't know you hit a point.
No, I know what the point is.
Oh, okay.
The point is, I know exactly what you're gonna say.
Okay.
The church was never closed because we are the church.
No. That ain't what I was gonna say. Most of the people that have not went forward in this season is because they're so focused on trying to get back into the physical building. When you should not be trying to get those people, because a lot of people ain't going back to the physical building. A lot of churches have lost members forever.
Well, I'm gonna tell you.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you what's so funny.
And they ain't expired.
But I'm gonna tell you what's funny is I actually know quite a few people, and just being honest, it's not even talking about the church that I go to, but I know quite a few people that are not going back to the church that they were going to pre-pandemic.
Correct.
And so I asked these individuals, I said, why? And candidly speaking, I'm not going to call out their name, but they told me when they saw the level of excellence other ministries were putting out compared to the one that they were at, they just realized going back there just wasn't for them.
Now, does that start at the head?
I mean, that could be a lot of things. That can be a lot of things. It can be bad leadership.
Okay.
It can be bad fellowship.
Okay.
It can be both.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to say, I think that a lot of churches, and I ain't going to name drop no names because I'll get myself in some trouble. I think that a lot of churches have had people in the building that they were not utilizing that could have helped them in the pandemic to excel.
Okay.
But because they were so focused on the wrong things, and they still are focused on the wrong things, that they haven't excelled. They're trying to excel. They're not going to. And after the pandemic, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I'll just say that. It's just going to be interesting to see what happens. I don't think it's going to be a good 20% in the building.
Well, moving on.
And I'm not bashing the church again.
No,
we
you
ain't
don't-
bashing.
it's okay. You don't have to keep saying that. I think people know by now.
We ain't bashing the church.
But we're not. We're just having a conversation about the pandemic and the church.
Correct.
And the structure of the pre-pandemic, during the pandemic, and post-pandemic. Now, we've already elaborated on a lot of churches weren't even fully operating in their full potential before the pandemic.
Correct.
Now, during the pandemic, because how can you be prepared for the unexpected when on the Sunday to Sunday basis there's a struggle before the pandemic?
Okay.
So during the pandemic, it's probably gonna be worse because you're losing a lot of people that you did have coming.
Mm-hmm.
So now when you're going through the pandemic and you have the very few people that you can have there,
Mm-hmm.
it's not gonna be where it needs to be,
Mm-hmm.
because even before then, it wasn't where it should be.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're moving on to post-pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Now, after we've established pre, during, and post. Now, how do you feel churches will? How do you feel churches will be once the people get fully comfortable and able to return back to the church? Do you feel like people will now constantly have this guard up?
For sure.
Because I'm gonna tell you
Absolutely.
something. Now, this part I will bring
That's
my
not,
church.
That's not gonna go away
Right
away. No time.
now, this part I will bring my church into play. For the church that I belong to,
Okay.
I know for a fact it's gonna be hard.
Y'all, DeAndre a pastor. He need to accept the calling. I'm just gonna throw that out there. All right.
Man, I'm not listening to you. Anyways, the church that I belong to, I know for a lot of people, it's going to be very hard to return to church
Mm-hmm.
and to worship God fully like we used to. And I'm going to explain to you why.
Okay. Go ahead.
Because I go to a church that's very huggy.
Mm.
What does that mean?
For sure.
We love to hug
They love
people.
to hug. They love to.
We going to hug.
Yeah.
Sister so and so gonna get back. They're gonna get, that's our nature. We're a very family oriented church.
Yeah.
So it's hard for us to see each other and not hug.
Right.
Now somebody say, well, you can hug somebody with a mask on. It's not the same though.
No.
It's not the same.
It's the human connection.
It is the human connection, but it's not gonna be the same.
It won't. I don't want to say it will never, but it will never be the same as it was before the pandemic hit.
And I'm gonna tell you what's crazy. Is I actually don't want it to be the same.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you
what
why.
What do you mean?
I'm gonna tell you why. I feel like churches in general, I feel like now that we are coming to, I'm gonna claim it, the end of the pandemic. Like I said, I'm claiming it. We met. Well, I say that's not gonna be a pandemic then.
No, it's gonna be.
It's gonna be like the influenza. It's gonna be something that's gonna come and go. It's gonna be a season for it.
I wouldn't say it's gonna be a season for it.
Okay.
It won't. It's not gonna be like, oh, this is flu season.
Okay. Well, I can see that because there's a reason why there's a flu season.
Correct.
I understand that. I get that now.
This, as much as we don't want to admit to it, COVID-19, the Rona was man-made.
Stop calling it the Rona.
Was man-made. Okay? It was in the lab, made by a person or persons.
Okay.
And I ain't about to, throw all that stuff out there. It didn't go the way that I think that they wanted it to go.
Okay.
So it's no season for COVID-19. Are these other strains of COVID that has come out after COVID-19? So it's not going to be a season, but there will always be some type of vaccine, or I'm gonna just say this, for lack of terms of word of all, they will try to minimize the effect of COVID-19 forever.
Okay.
So you're going to live with it forever.
I mean, it's like the flu.
Right, but the flu has a season. We know, we all prepare for the flu. Take your flu shot. This is the season.
Yeah, it's always like when it gets super cold.
Right.
That's flu season.
They push for it. They know the season of flu, right?
Mm.
COVID, You already been in the house, or should have been in the house for a year.
And we could talk about that. There's some people that has continued to do
What they
and
want to
operate
do?
every day,
Yep.
and that's crazy.
Well,
That's crazy.
I understand. I understand.
I don't
both
understand
sides.
it. I don't.
I understand being locked in the house.
I don't.
And
I remember
understand-
growing up. I remember growing up. You know, this is kind of funny story, a little bit off course, but this is funny. I remember growing up. I used to, when I come home, and I think that every kid kind of went through this. You come home, you want to, and I come from a generation to where we weren't in a house like that. We wanted to go outside, ride bikes, play tag,
Right,
stuff like this.
right.
I wanted to go outside. So,
Or you got kicked outside.
or you got gone
Get out,
outside and going to go play.
Go
right.
with the kids. The kids go. The kids
But
is
I'm
outside.
gonna tell you something though. Growing up, my mom used to say, "What you gonna get out there, do your homework first? Outside ain't going nowhere." Now look at outside, gone.
Don't exist.
You can't
It's
go
a-
outside.
It's a blessing to walk
It's
outside.
a blessing to walk outside right now. But
Yeah.
there was a time to where, as a teenager, as a child, I wanted to go outside. Hey, man, I'm trying to go ride my bike, go to my friend's house. Now you can't do that.
Skate.
It's outside. It's gone.
Travel the world.
It's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Now there will be,
Oh,
like I said, there will be a
and-
time where it's gonna get back. I know what you're gonna say. You probably gonna mention about the vaccine and traveling.
Don't travel outside of the United States, people.
Why?
Even if you have had COVID-19 and or got vaccinated,
Why?
because there are multiple countries
Okay.
that don't have no medical system, no medical stability or system, or I don't want to name no names.
Well, I'm not.
Okay, for example, don't go to Mexico. Why don't we go to Mexico? We all know that Mexico is a country that is less fortunate than us, right? So their medical system is not as good as our medical system.
You
So-
think so?
I know so. So
Okay.
I've been in meetings about this. That's
Okay.
why I'm giving the information. So
No, but I understand that. But you have to be mindful of the source, and I'm not trying
No,
to.
no, no.
I'm not trying to
no, no,
degrade
no, no.
nobody, but we have a tendency to do that in the United States.
for sure.
And say that everything that we do and produce is good and of
no, that's not
excellent
even what I'm
quality,
about to say though.
and everywhere else is subpar.
No,
And that's not always the case.
Oh, for sure.
'Cause look at a
because
lot of
Africa has done well because they
Look at the many
been
other
prepared
countries.
for stuff like this.
Look at many of other countries and how they have completely went through the pandemic and now it's back to normal.
Right.
We're the ones that's still going through this.
Correct.
Why? Because we don't take
But
things
we're
as
not
serious.
the only ones that still. want
I
it.
never said we was the only ones.
Okay. Right. Okay, but that's true. Well, here's the reason why I'm saying that, and it has nothing. I'm not bashing.
Don't come
Mexico.
on my channel being racist.
I'm not bashing Mexico.
Don't be.
I want to go to Mexico.
I like.
Me and my
Mex-
friends was ready. I was ready to take a trip. My boss
So
was
why
ready to
shouldn't
take
people
a trip
travel to Mexico?
because right now the vaccine is so new, and it is very new,
Okay.
that we are not aware, even outside of the country, in CDC, everybody else, they ain't saying it. Everywhere else, they are not aware that if you catch another stream of COVID,
Mm-hmm.
if the vaccine that you got, or if you have antibodies for COVID-19, if it's going to be the same if you catch another stream of COVID. So, for example, let's just, for a name, I'm not saying that this is a name of COVID, but let's just say that this is a name.
Don't you speak that into existence
no,
on
no,
this podcast.
I'm
Don't
just-
be saying no.
I'm just saying, let's just say they say, oh, well, this next stream, oh, I can do it like this. Let's say you go to Mexico, and the South African strain is over there in Mexico, right? And let's say you had the COVID-19 vaccine, right? Well, if you go over there, they don't know if that COVID-19 vaccine works
Okay.
for the South African strain of COVID
Mm-hmm.
because it came out after COVID-19 because it mutated, or it whatever the proper word is they use for it,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so they haven't came out, or they haven't developed properly yet a vaccine that will take care of other streams of COVID.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like, is
Yeah.
that,
So
is,
what you're basically saying is
and
when it comes,
I'm not
no,
bashing.
I
I'm just
understand what you're
saying
saying.
you
I
don't know
understand.
where you're going. You don't know what's over there because they haven't been able to.
So what you're saying is other countries
Correct.
have not succeeded in producing a stabilized vaccine like United States so far. Is that what you're saying? So is that basically what you're saying? That we
neither have we established
okay, so
a vaccine for other strains of COVID-19, other strains
okay.
of COVID.
But you just said don't go to Mexico
Right.
because of that.
Correct.
So why should people come here?
Because we have a vaccine for COVID-19 right here in America.
They don't?
They don't. Because they were fighting at the same time as we were fighting COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
So were they fighting COVID-19. So they were trying to get rid of COVID-19 as well as we were trying to get rid of COVID-19. But because it's somebody in, let's say in South, we go say South Africa. Somebody in South Africa had COVID-19.
Okay.
And they had another, they had the South African strain of COVID. It mixed together with, you know what I'm saying? Get what I'm trying to say? It mixed together at the wrong, they had COVID-19, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had some other sickness, right?
Okay.
Which made the COVID-19 worse, which is why they're calling it the South African variant of COVID. Does it make sense?
So basically, they couldn't get through the first strain of the coronavirus before another one came.
Correct.
Okay, I get it now.
So that basically don't go to other countries until they basically give you the clear. You can go if you want to. You get over there and catch what they got, and you ain't coming back over here. Huh? You be stuck. Now.
Stuck like a truck?
Now. And you can't come back in the country. Let me just tell you this. You can't come back in the country. Oh, I got a COVID test before I left. Yeah, but if you come back in this country, trying to come back in this country, you need to make sure you have a COVID test, and it can't be no older than, I want to say 48 hours, 72 hours, the one of the two.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So much to talk about in so little time. We're going to wrap this up. I appreciate my bro for coming on here tonight.
I'm tired, y'all.
Next week, we're going to do it the same part 2. I should have another guest on here with me. This guy, he may decide to come back next week. Don't know. But if he wants to, he can come back.
Oh,
but I want to finish.
All right.
Oh, my God. Jesus Christ.
I need to know who the guest is.
Jesus Christ. I don't know. Maybe my wife decided to
Uh-oh.
act right.
Ooh. I hope she ain't know.
She watching it. I know she watching it. Anyways. But he's more than welcome to come back next week, and we can wrap this up. But I do want to talk and elaborate more about the church post-pandemic.
Okay.
So we got on, functioning before the pandemic, during the pandemic.
We didn't hit everything, but
trust me, there's so much. You can take a whole episode alone, a whole series, and just talk about,
what was going
the church.
on before.
Yeah, the church.
Okay.
Just literally, there's nothing else you got to say about it, the church.
Right.
And talk about, there's so many things churches nowadays can do to grow.
Right.
A ministry.
Right. I know.
But that has to be the focal point.
I know a young man that has built a whole studio in the pandemic.
Well, it's like I told you. There's churches that I salute what they've done during the pandemic.
Right.
And one of them is, like I've said, Transformation Church Pastor Michael Todd.
Right.
He's a young pastor that's 33 years old.
I
think he's 33.
Okay.
But during the pandemic,
that means
they purchased 35 properties.
That's a lot.
Of retail space. I'm not talking about little houses. They purchased 35 properties of retail space.
I'm not talking about little houses.
No, shit, I'm not trying to sound, but they didn't purchase, 35 different, houses next door. This is commercial real estate. Talking about probably in the multi-millions of dollars.
Okay.
In the pandemic.
In the pandemic.
Only God.
What is going on with you in the pandemic? That's so deep. All right, we got to go.
Yeah, we got to go.
What's going on in your personal life in the pandemic?
But they doing something right.
Uh-oh.
They doing something right over there, and I salute them. I really do, because I can only imagine.
Next week, if I come back, I'll give y'all my
You ain't coming back, anyways.
if it's on the same day.
You're not coming back, anyways. Thank you all for watching this podcast episode. We're gonna do the same thing next Thursday. Please like, share, comment on this video. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram at My Life's God's Way. Follow me on Facebook at My Life God's Way. And we see you next